Hello. With due permission of Dr. S. Jat, Sanchez, please start the session.
Thank you, sir. Innovation turns the golden harvest of our fields into the green fuel of our future. Jai Hind and good evening to everyone present here. A very warm welcome to Day 16 of Society for Agricultural Advancement, Research, Training and Human Innovation. Knowledge Revolution in Agriculture Nurturing Technology and Innovation 2026. Our 30-day National Agricultural Training Program. On behalf of Agri SAARTHI team, it is my immense pleasure to welcome all the participants and our esteemed resource person today. My name is Chatrisha and along with me Astha will be representing Agri SAARTHI team and guiding you throughout this today's session. To begin with, I would like to extend a very warm and respectful welcome to our guest speaker for today, Dr. Shankar Lal Jhat sir, Senior Scientist of ICAR IIMR. Sir, we are truly honored to have you on our stage today. Now, I also would like to welcome our Organizing Director Ajay Khasana sir, the Chief Secretary of Agri Sardhi Kranti 2026. Agri Sardhi is the brainchild of Ajay Khasana sir, envisioned with the goal of revolutionizing agricultural education in India by creating the knowledge driven platform that seamlessly integrates science, sustainability, innovation, and practical learning. Through the initiatives like 30 Days National Training Program, Agri Sadi continues to empower students, researchers, and professionals, fostering today's ready agricultural leadership. Now, before we start today's session, let's quickly recap what we have learned yesterday. Our topic was on mushroom cultivation. We have discussed how to grow and explore the many useful products made from mushroom, like powders, supplements, and many more. It was a great lesson where turning waste into the profit. So, building on the theme of value addition, today's session focuses on the revolutionary aspect of crop science. Today's topic is maize as a potential feedstock for bioethanol in India. With the growing demand for revolutionary energy, understanding the role of maize in bioethanol industry, it is crucial for both farmers and economy. To provide more detailed introduction of our esteemed guests to lead us throughout the session, it is our honor to have distinguished scientist Dr. Shankar Lal Jat sir. It is my honor to introduce our esteemed resource person for today's session, Dr. Shankar Lal Jat sir. Dr. Jat sir is the senior scientist of ICAR Institute of in Maize Research, New Delhi. He is highly distinguished academician, having been elected as a fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences in 2026 with a PhD from a prestigious Indian Agricultural Research Institute. His expertise lie in conservation of agriculture and precision nutrient management. His career is marked by an exceptional achievements including Indira Devi Gold Medal, the FAI Golden Jubilee Award, and ISA Dr. P.S. Deshmukh Young Agronomist Award. He has also served as a senior scientist at ICAR Institute of Maize Research since 2018 and fellow of Maize Research Technology Association of India. With over 26 years of research and administration experience, Dr. Jhat sir has contributed significantly to the development of sustainable farming systems in India. We are truly privileged to have such as eminent scientist and visionary leader with us today. With a great respect, I invite Sir to share the insights of conservation agriculture and precision nutrient management. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Chatrisha, thank you so much for your generous introductions, and I'm greatly honored, and I feel delighted to know about this. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ajay and hope my screen is visible and it's in screen share mode. It's full screen.
Yes, sir, it is
Yes, sir.
visible.
Okay, thank you. So friends, if we see maize as a potential feedstock, so today's talk, uh, you see, if you see the maize having the highest yield potential amongst the cereals, and its average productivity for the world is 5.9 tons per hectare, as compared to the rice and wheat, which is having only 3.5 tons per hectare. Okay. And if you see the, on the right hand side, there is a bar which is showing the water, how much water requirement. So if you see the for bioethanol productions, rice and sugarcane are also the primary feedstocks being envisaged. And the water requirement for both the crops is very high as compared to the fumage is concerned. Okay. So it is grown in diverse ecologies. So most of the states in country they grow the maize except the Kerala, and Kerala also we introduced in 2021, and it's expanding. Okay, so it's pan India presence. So we need not to go for the energy for the transport to have the energy transported. Means the bioethanol generation in Madhya Pradesh, we should not transport to the Tamil Nadu or from Tamil Nadu from to Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so a localized production, localized consumption based requirement can be made through the maize, and this maize, you see, it can be grown round of the years. We grow at least two major crops in a particular ecology. Okay, so we find that there is a continuous increase in the production and productivity of this crop. So we had not seen this this. So due to climate change and other changing climate, so this crop is sustaining. So we can say we can go for the more amount of production. So this is what we are doing in our national level. This is, we are working in Indian Institute of Maize Research, started in 1957 as AICRP on maize. This was the first AICRP started because of realizing its importance. But suddenly it derailed because of our food requirements, and now we witness the green revolutions and so forth. So in 1994, again, we realized that maize should be upgraded. So this was upgraded at Directorate of Maize Research and followed by Indian Institute of Maize Research and shifted to Ludhiana. Okay, so we worked throughout the country. You can see this map, and these are the locations where the All India Coordinated Research Projects is being located. So you can see at the most of the places, pan-India coverage we are having, major states we cover, and we test our technologies. So across around 120 scientists in total, 91 from AICRP, and you see 40 from our institute are being involved dedicatedly for the maize research. And because of that, and also due to farmers' efforts and the policy things, you can see the increasing maize production over the years. Okay. And in 2024-5, it touched to the 43 million tons, and we are having around 3.6 tons of the productivity, and which you can see the highest amongst the cereals in India. Okay, so we got the expressive, impressive growth rate in area production and yield, and now to meet our ethanol blended program E2830, we will see some of these insights in coming slides. If you see 22-23, there was production of 38 million tons, and we were using only 18% for ethanol and others. But now we envisage that 21% maize will be utilized for ethanol, and the requirement for maize by 2030 will be around 60 million tons. So from present 43 million tons, we have to go for 60 million tons. Or if there is growth rate in more, it can go up to 76 million tons. Whatever growth we have seen last year, there was 5 million tons delta was there. So you can see our poultry will be the largest consumers, around 49%. Okay, 45 to 49%, right? So if you see the nationwide, as I mentioning that it is diversified production and diversified consumption, this slide shows that. Okay, so from Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, these are the Kharif major producing areas. For Rabi, if we see Bihar, Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu comes, and spring, which is coming up by major seasons. Previously, if you see only 2 to 3 lakh hectare, 1 lakh hectare area was there. Now it is touching more than a million hectares. Okay, so more than 10 lakh hectares. Rabi likewise also got increased significantly, and more so also happen in the rainy season. So we touched more than 12 million hectares. This year is likely to touch 12.5 million hectares with enhanced productivity. We are targeting around 50 million tons of the production. So amongst the states, if you see, there is scope lies why we can increase the production and productivity. You see the rainy season, we are having 6 tons productivity in Tamil Nadu, Telangana, 5 tons, Assam also impressive, West Bengal also impressive, Punjab also impressive. Okay. Whereas national productivity is 3 tons. So our target we set for this 4 tons. And for winter season, if you see national productivity is 5 tons, we targeted it 6.5 tons in by 2030 or 2035. So there is opportunity lies like Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal are the states which are having more than 7 tons of the productivity. Okay, which is above than the world average. Bihar also above than the world average. Telangana also above than the world average. Okay, so The fast expanding winter spring season also has very impressive productivity of above 6 tons. So this shows that yes, we can improve the production and productivity, and we can feed our biofuel programs across the country. As I mentioned, in both the season, area production and productivity is increasing trends. Okay, we expect yours 90% of the maize in rainy season is under rain-fed condition, which is also not, if you see 70% is not assured rain-fed. That's apart from that, also because of the drought tolerant, stress resistant cultivars development and deployment of the appropriate technology of weed management and fall armyworm management leads to the kharif productivity enhancement. And we have seen the you know production in kharif season was increased by 14%, and whereas production in winter season was increased by 28%. Okay. So it is not that only winter season is increasing, but in the other season is also increasing. And this is, we need to understand why the, productivity differs in various seasons and regions. So rain-fed versus irrigated, we can understand there is, significant gap in the productivity when we are considering rain-fed versus irrigated. The duration, if you see in the rainy season, duration is hardly 100 days. Okay. Whereas in winter season, it goes 150, 160. So duration is almost directly linked to the productivity of any crop. In rainy season, we got more amount of the weed infestation, 3 to 4 flushes, 5 flushes of the weeds are coming. So it consumes your water, light, and space. So this increases your productivity. Insect pest and diseases also comes more due to for more humidity and other thing. Then high temperature leads to the lesser durations. Waterlogging and drought, both things happen in the same year. So sometimes waterlogging, sometimes drought. So crop is get confused. So because of that, we got lesser productivity in rain-fed situation. Still, we are getting the higher productivity, higher and higher productivity over the years. So we are having 100% single cross hybrids. Single cross hybrids means there is one male and one female parents. We are having for that spring and rabi season versus we are having less than 65% of the hybrid adoption in rainy season. So that's why our productivity in rainy, kharif and spring season differs. This you can see in 23, 24 and 25. You see the rainy season productivity is nearly 3 tons. Winter season productivity is, above nearly 5 tons. And spring seasons, we used to have more. Now it is expanding, and slowly this ecology is going to be big. Okay. Where we are having, Kharif season around 70% area, but production is around 60%. Okay. Because of the lesser productivity. Okay. But in 23% area, we are getting 32% production in case of the winter season, right? Likewise, area 7%, but 9% production in spring season. So this is what target we meant, 100 million tons by 2047, which is Amrit Kaal for India. And this will depend definitely on the your policies and other things. We are having at present 20% blending target by 25-26. 2030, we are going to have 30% with non-blended petrol. And then we are also having 5% blending target in diesel. Then 1% target for sustainable aviation fuel, SAF. Okay, so diesel isobutanol will be formed, then only we will be using diesel. So now we are started manufacturing our goods with, whatever diesel consuming vehicles from last 3 years. Government have issued that you have to make the ethanol compatible vehicles. Okay, so you can see the government of India has saved a lot of money, around that 1.5 lakh crores by lesser import of the crude oil because of this initiative. Okay, so these are the reasons why the maize farmers are becoming energy givers and purja data from the food givers. Okay, because this crop you see, as I mentioned in my previous slides, around 80% was using for the non-food purposes, not direct food consumptions. Okay, and then we have production potential is very high. Scope for enhanced yield and accuracy is also there because rice fellows are there. Rice fellows start becoming fellow from October to January. Okay, so you need a crop you can sow anytime and harvest anytime. So we require photo and thermo-insensitive crops. So maize fits very well in this aspect for utilizing the rice fellows. Okay, in high moisture also it gets established, and then you can have a very good productivity at the end. So this is expanding fast. I will say one example of the Assam where we got within 3 years, the production is double, 37% improvement in the productivity. Okay. So you see the round the year industrial functioning can be there if you are going for rice maize-based ethanol industries, because you get at least 2 season maize production in that particular area, and you can also store the maize easily as compared to the sugarcane. Okay, so sugarcane industry only works for 3 to 4 months or 5 months, maximum 6 months. But now, if you go for dual feed industry where sugarcane is also there and maize-based ethanol is there, 6 months you can run on maize-based ethanol. All the workers will get the salary, and you might have seen in last 3 to 4 years, because of ethanol blended programs, sugarcane farming has become more remunerative, and there is no issue of the any pending payment. Okay, so because of this particular policy initiative, so in this manner, the maize is also fueling the sugarcane industry indirectly by way of the full year functioning. Okay. So multiple cropping, best fit for sustainable intensification. You have 100 days duration crops, you have 150 days duration, even 70 days duration or 80 days duration crop is also there. So you can go for the window, wherever window opportunity you get. I will just show some of the few things where we went for it. So environmentally sound, less water and environmental footprint, 1/3 of the sugarcane and rice. And its byproduct as a DDGS. If we use 100 kg of the maize grain, we got 35 to 42 liters of bioethanol, 25 to 30 crore DDGS. DDGS is distillery dry grains in syllabus, like just like a rabdi. Okay, we can dry it. Let's see like this. So it contains 25 to 30% protein and 10 to 15% of the fat. So you see, this can be used as a feed for the industries, for animal feed industries to increase their, energy content in their food. Okay. So, now 10 to 12% mixing can be there if we are going for 30% of these maize, E30. Okay. So, whatever feed demand is there, in that you can mix 10 to 12% of the DDGs. So, this is how we are targeting. Our target is 100 million tons. How we can go for it? First, we have to go for single cross hybrid coverages, best management practices. I will just show one example where you can go for raised bed planting in rainy season, and you can improve simply 30 to 40% yield as compared to when we are going for the planting on the flat. Okay, and followed by earthing up. And our target is 40 quintals per hectare kharif maize and 65 quintals rabi maize productivity. And if we see, by doing so, what kind of food security issue we can face? Maize is food independent crops. Surely, through the poultry, it is coming indirectly as a food. But 25 to 30% of the DDGS generated. So 25% maize already we are coming back to the poultry industry or animal feed industry. That upland rice area where we are having a 1 million hectare, productivity is around 1 ton. So we can get the 1 million tons of the lesser rice. Likewise, if we target 4 lakh hectares area in the Western IGP, it will cost 4 million tons. Productivity is very high. So totally your 5 million tons rice will be less. But already we are going for over 24, 22, 24 million tons of the rice export every year. So in that scenario, we are in comfortable stage. Already we become number one in the rice. If we are producing 4 to 5 million tons of the lesser rice, then also, it's not going to affect that much of our food security. Okay, so whatever virtual water we are exporting, that also needs to be debated upon, what we are gaining and what we are giving. Okay, so we can tap, in addition to this, sustainable intensification of rice fellows, upland in eastern India, western IGP, and intercropping. Because maize plus pigeon pea intercropping is one of the intercropping system. It is being envisaged as the regenerative agriculture form. Okay, so we need to have high yielding, high starch hybrid with better ethanol recovery, so that we can go for the production of the our crops. Okay. Okay, something open. Okay. So you see, we are using around 9 to 12 million tons of the maize, and across the country, there are various grain-based distilleries being established. So leading by Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, you see local production, local consumption, and more industries are coming. And target of the government of 50% by maize and 50% by other food stock is already fulfilled. You can see over here 40% ethanol from maize, 27% sugarcane, and 13% from the bee heavy molasses, which is coming from this. And rest is coming 20% by the cut, 10% by the cut grain rice. Okay, 20% by cut grain rice. Okay, so this is how your rural economy is being benefited, and it was estimated that 45,000 crore rupees was dispersed simply to the farmers of maize by when you 40% ethanol was fitted. Okay, these are the data of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and you see there is lesser greenhouse gas emissions, which is more important and most important concern when we are going for carbon credit and those kind of things. So maize has 299 kg CO2 per hectare as compared to you go for rice, lowland 2300. Okay, so 10 times or more is being utilized. Water requirement I already discussed, and you can see and map through this map. Okay, where we are having already water stress conditions. Okay, a very less yellow area has left. We should not go for more, making it orange and red. So we requires enabling policies, short price, procurement procedures. Okay. So we can allow the industry to become a mandi yard. And here there is one simple economics that whatever ethanol company is selling, okay. So at least 100 kg maize, if 40 liter ethanol is being sold, means the industry has purchased 100 kg maize. So they have to pay 100 kg maize mandi price. Okay. So we can go for easily making them mandi yard because this is 100% procurement by the oil marketing companies and then feeding into it. So we must have the better bioethanol making. So if you see the global level, USA is mostly making this ethanol. So USA is using 150 million tons of the maize for ethanol purpose. Okay, so we can also go for the making this nice by installation of the dryers till you are making the from ethanol. Okay, so after ethanol making, we have to dry the our coal slurry, and we can make the our DDGS. We can have the edible oils. Corn oil is already available in the market. We can also make the biodiesel out of it, so that biodiesel can be utilized for the making your diesels. Okay, so what kind of the research and technology intervention we requires to make it happens, because now you could able to get it that the maize can be a suitable feedstock to fuel your vehicles. Okay, so we have to go for targeted hybrid development, and we can see there is a large yield gaps for the maize is there. Okay, so you say the genetic in potentials, environmental differences, economically attainable weed, which are depend on variety, weeds, pest, disease, irrigation, soil fertility, and many other things you can say. Okay, so what we need to do in all the seasons, like Kharif season, we have to go for the different kind duration varieties, like long duration if you are going for June sowing, medium duration for June, mid-July sowing, and short duration for August sowing. And likewise for spring season also, if you are going mid-February sowing, long duration hybrid, mid to end of February, medium duration, and short duration in March sowing. Okay, so spring season mostly demand medium to short duration, and Rabi season we have to go for long duration to get the maximum of it. Okay, so suitable package of practices also need to be upscaled to so that we whatever the yield gaps are there, we could able to bridge it. Okay, apart from this, there are certain intervention you may see. These are the plants where more in maize there is no branching and no tendril, as you all of us knows. So if we are able to make our leaf angle, narrow, and we can understand to go for the more number of the leaves. Okay. So if our leaves are very smaller, okay, the angles are lesser, and we could able to make the a desired kind of the plant, so which is already in the way. There are many institutions they are doing. Some dwarf plants are also established, so there is no losing also. So those kind of the leaves, shoots, tassel, plant, or that kind of the kernel traits, like bold grains, uniform rows, high number of kernel rows. These kind of things, if you are going for plant architecture above grounds, so it will helps to go for the more starch and high ethanol recovery, and we can go for the more of the suitable feedstocks. So we can improve our breeding efficiencies and genetic gains through the various things. Okay. So we must increase the selection intensity, and we can go for double haploid. DH means double haploid based technologies, where we can go for the more number of the generations of the inbred lines within 2 cycles. Okay. So we can go for the reducing the cycle times and increasing the yield genetic gains. So here marker assisted selection, genomic selections is increasingly being used by various organizations in public and private sectors, and now gene editing is also being focused. DH technology is now being used in India. Okay, various organizations are using these TS technologies, VPCAS, IRI, then CMET, and IMR also started. Okay, so speed breeding facility is also going to be established for this purpose, so that we can have at least 4 to 5 generation in a year for rapid generation advancement. So these are the 5 kernel traits we are targeting under genome editing. So like kernel number per plants. So if go for the JM kernel 2, and plant architectures, we are reducing plant spacing. We can go for 20 to 25% more plants. So we could able to increase the yield up to that. So high planting density. Then one is for bended leaf and sheath blight resistance, which is more common in the rainy season. And another is lignin modification or soluble decomposition. It will increase the bioethanol production. Okay. So COMT gene, we are going for that kind of efficient lignocellulosic bioethanol production. And then we drought and salt tolerance, which we have used for our genome edited rice that was first released by India in the world. Okay, so these 5 characters we are also going for genome editing, so that we can have the important things. And one lead the Indian Institute of Maize Research has is regeneration protocol from the mature embryo. So there, what we can do, we can go for the faster cycling of the inbreds and other things, so we can develop the faster germ planning, right? So here you go to need not to grow your plant into your greenhouses, and then you take the tissue and go for the regeneration. Now you can generate through your seed. Okay, so that protocol we have in place. So definitely we are going to come with the good traits, because genome edited crops are now increasingly being emphasized in our country as a substitute for the GM crops. So we are not allowing GM crop, we are going for genome edited crops. Likewise, this is most important part. India requires around 2.5 lakh tons of the seed. Okay, and our production is 1.5 to 2 lakh tons. And out of that, also some part is being sold out in the market. Okay, so they, despite of all efforts and good market price of the seed, they are not able to do it, because most of the seed hubs are being located into the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so those seed hubs has their limitations, because they require isolation or other things, but requires the skill manpower. So what Indian Institute of Maize Research is doing, it has established the regional seed hubs. One is successful in the West Bengal. They are producing around 18,000 quintal seed per hectare per year. I mean, and as you have seen in the previous slides, West Bengal is the state which has maximum productivity of more than 7 tons, and still has the maximum penetration of the public sector hybrids. Okay, so I'm not talking about the public and private. right? But I am just telling that the public sector hybrids has also strength equal to the private sector. Only we are not having marketing system in place, seed production system in place. So there we can see, and you see the breeder seed demand from 65 quintals to now it has increased to 104. Okay, so you can see the now the government agency has also got increased for like 40 quintals jump is there for the breeder seed demand, especially for the hybrid seeds. And these are the certain hybrids like DMS 1308, 121, 117, 203, 1301, and 203. And then you see Pusa HQPM 1 and 5 improved, LQMH 1, Pratap Mage Hybrid 4, MH. So these hybrids are in great demand, and the good market is developed because of signing of MOUs for public sector hybrids. So we have signed around 150 MOUs, in from various public sector hybrids. So on an average, now if you see the public sector hybrid seed contribution to the seed market is 25 to 30%. Okay, so whatever seeds we are selling in our country, indirectly if you see the from MOU, if you go for that could further increase by 10%, but 25% seed contribution is there for public sector, and we are just trying to establish regional hub in UP, MP. Even we have tried for the hybrid seed production in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so wherever maize can be produced, it can go for the seed production. And recently, you might have learned this was from covered by the Economic Times and others newspaper also. The first time seed of the maize was produced in Punjab. Okay, so Punjab as a post rainy season has come up. The seed hub can be there. So we are just going for thinking to diversify as much as we can do. Rajasthan have already shown that in the Banswara and other regions we can go for seed production nicely. So this is going to be a big challenge. Some of you might have joined to in this initiative, and you can come and make the money as well as make the business and make the maize happy and yourself also happy. So we are having large number of hybrids of public and private sector that are being released with a very good productivity potential. That's why we have targeted 6.5 and 4 tons of the maize production productivity in our country. Okay, so you can see we can go for by having this in spring season also you see 10 more than 10 tons productivity potential. The winter season also we are having around 10 tons productivity potential. Beside that, if you see wherever I have not arrived this season in the first things, that is the Kharif season, we are having good productivity, and good number of hybrids are coming from across the private and public sectors. You can see Bioseed, High-Tech, whatever Agri-Science, UPL, Advanta Limited. Advanta hybrids are doing good in the Kharif season. They are coming exceptionally good. Okay. And certain hybrids from Rasi seeds are also good. I mean, we are just going for the, maize. Okay. Maize, not the any, making differences between whosoever does the best will win. Okay. Will be adopted by the farmers. So, this is preliminary information where we are going for the high starch based hybrid. So at 15% moisture content, if you see the starch content, somebody tells dent has more, somebody tells flint has more, some has semi-dent has more. Okay, so if you say the country level, around 29%, 23% is dent corn. Semi-dent and semi-flint constitute maximum, it is around 70%. Okay, and rest comes the your flint corn. So basically we are going for semi-dent or semi-flint kind of things. Semi-dent or semi-flint or flint type, they are having more storability as compared to the dent. Dent has very soft endosperm, you can say softer endosperm as compared to not like floricorn, it's not, but it has softer endosperm. So it's not that all time dent is doing good, all time flint is doing good, but suddenly dent has slightly higher advantage. But if you see flint is also has you say 62.5 flint, this particular fellow. Okay, and the first one is dent, of course it is 0.3, then flint, then third one is also flint. Okay, so we cannot say that only dent has more starch and these things. This needs to be tested further, but preliminary result shows that there is not big differences. Starch packing is much harder in this. And you see at national level what I mentioned, that Flint has only 25%, Dent has 7%. Sorry, I mentioned wrong figures previously. But you see 7% Dent, especially in that spring season. All Dent are in spring season. Semi-Flints, these are in the Kharif season. Semi-Dent and semi-Flint are in the Rabi season. Okay. So you see the Dent altogether, it has lesser ability to tolerate the heat and also the warm environment and diseases as we have in the rainy season. So we have to target only the semi-dent or semi-flint kind of the varieties in the rainy season, whereas the spring season just match with the USA kind of the seasons, and we can use the dent or semi-dent directly over here. And winter season also we can use in some of the ecologies. Okay, so our objectives should be increasing selling percentage, more endosperm, more starch, bolder grains with high starch, deep kernel. We require deep kernels. Okay. So this photo you can see how your dent and flint corn. Flint corn is, you can say, the tropical corn. Dent corn is temperate corn. Okay. So USA maximum produce dent corn, right? We produce mostly flint or semi-flint kind. Okay, so best thing is semi-dent, which goes for temperate into tropical process. Semi-flint is also temperate into tropical. So variability in starch content, if you see dent, semi-dent and flint, mostly coming in the range. Okay, so you can say some places you have more in this semi-dent also, and some places in flint also. Okay, so at various location-wise differences are also there. You see in the Jharkhand, we got the maximum amount of the, starch as compared to the other location you can see at Begusrai or others. Okay. So there are different hybrids and pipeline. You may see here. We made around more than 2,000 crosses, and now we increasingly, doing towards the yield enhancement so that we can have per hectare more yield as compared to the whatever we are getting, so that we can have more bioethanol production. And certainly, the production practices also helps for realizing your crops yield. Now we are having conservation agriculture based production practices where we are having various cropping system, and one of the most successful is rice, followed by zero till maize. So it is going on in around 2 lakh hectares, and now it is rapidly expanding in the eastern ecology of the Odisha, Bengal, and Assam. Previously, it was concentrated in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. Now it is rapidly expanding. Like weed management, also we are having good amount of the herbicide, and these things are available. Post-emergence herbicide, especially, and mechanical weeding is also there. It is intercropping, it's suitable, and we are having good nutrient management practices. So best thing is nobody want to touch the crop with the hands. So now we are having the good machineries from seed establishment to the harvesting. Okay, for maize we are having reapers, whole plant thresher, and all crop huskers. Then mobile maize dryer is also coming, and we are also having dryers which has the a continuous kind of dryers. Whatever you pour, and here in the other side there will be dried maize coming out. Okay, so very small roller planter based jet planter to the other planters, maize is there. Okay, so best nutrient management you can do by doing so. So at this stage of the sowing, we have to go for the application of the all phosphorus and potash. Potash, half of the potash we can go for the at the flowering or at the near stage. Near stage, why we go? Because at this stage the cob size is being decided, and at the stage of the tasseling, we go for though if the lowest leaves are dried up, we will not able to get the good yield. So if you are not having potash, you apply irrigation after the tasseling stage. Okay, at the grain filling stage, so your grain will be bolder, and there the grains from your top of the cobs, sometimes they start going for the abortions. So those abortion will be not there, rudimentary embryos will not be there. So you can apply potash, which is increasing, become important, or you apply irrigation, which in turn supplies the potash also. Okay, and always application of organic manure is beneficial in the maize. It gives good response to that. And this is for weed management. Previously, if you might have learned from the various books and other resources, now we are having enough number of the herbicides, those are available. Okay. And you post emergence, we are having halosulfuron, temotrin, topramazole, and their ready mix are also available, which can be applied at 15 to 40 days. Okay. So this is one of the for rotoboiler management. It is still to be registered. Okay. And if you want to go for the rotoboiler management, you can apply this now once it complete. Okay. Rotoboiler is, weed which is looking like maize and it escapes by the most of the herbicides. But if you apply at the 10 days after sowing topramazone plus atrazine, you could able to control it nicely, but not at the later stage. Otherwise, you have to go for the mechanical and other means. So there are various mechanical means are also available that can be used efficiently. And one thing is that maize responds well to the subsurface drip irrigation or drip irrigations you can go, and mostly seed production we are doing in our country is on the drip irrigation based. So we are also going for distillery focused catchment area development, and because of that we will go for increasing feedstock availability. And usually for 2 seasons we went for 15 to 16 states, and you can see the large number of beneficiaries we have covered. Okay, under various development programs, you may see the various peoples are being participated in this program, and we came with the model of the rice maize intercropping where two cereals are there, but means the like that, like poaceae family crops are there. But you see, at various places we went for the demonstrations in the Western UP, as well as these are the done in the 50 acres or now 80 acres in Solapur, Maharashtra, and you can see the nice maize crops comes before your sugarcane arrives. So in 12 distilleries, this is coming and a good role model. And now we can produce 50 to 60 lakhs tons of the maize from the 1/3 of the sugarcane area. Okay, so wherever we are going for first planting, easily we can go. Next, we are going to come with the return also. So before tilling, we have to harvest these crops. Okay, so we can go for detopping of the crops. Okay, at the time of maturity, and that can be fed to the your animals. Detopping means above the cob we cut and fed to the animals. Okay. Likewise, we found this crop is doing, good now in the West Punjab and Haryana, and we can able to have the, better wheat yield 14 to 15% by doing so. So in Assam also, as I narrated, that we have increased the area from 53,000 to 103,000 within 2 years. Yield was increased by 38%. Okay. As we, I myself, I studied, I was there from, this corner to this corner for 15 days together in Assam, and we make a model that's how you can increase the area. We increase the linkage and capacity building because of that. But still, as I mentioned, gaps are being existed. So we created these 7, 8 materials in 9 different languages, and now distributing to the farmers or any other places. You can log on your Facebook, and you can see the IMR catchment project or IMR simply, where you can download these literatures and provide your valuable feedbacks and given to the farmers. So still we are having good yield gains of 17 to 18% in Rabi and Spring and 31% in Kharif season by doing so. This is one of the most important. Probably I am going to finish in that 1 minute. You see the aflatoxin in maize. So which is most hurdle for the making this whole bioethanol ecosystem functional. So this is developed when we are going for the high moisture storage of the any carbohydrate rich material. Okay, so we need to go for the handling in those manners. We can go for detopping, as I mentioned. We can go for drying of your cob nicely for 17 to 18% moisture. For this purpose, we have to go for the with sheath cob harvest, and those cob can be just put on the ground without any going for the on covering it and uncovering it and making all time of the up and down to them. Without that, we can go for drying it nicely, and if we dry it to 14% moisture, then it is safe for storage. So basically it's a handling problem, and also we have to control the insect that happens at the time of the maturity and make your cob open. Okay, so basically these 4 things we need to do so we can make these maize as a sustainable bioethanol feedstock. Research where hybrids, better DDGs, and catchment areas with BMP and genome editing, genomic selection, DH technology to further improvement in the yields. And whatever package of practices we are doing, it should be the cropping system modes or partnership and linkages for drying facilities and silos, ethanol plants, producer linkages, machinery hubs, seed production, as I mentioned, very important, scaling up of the best management practices through various innovation platforms, including surface and surface drips we have established. So thank you so much. This is how we can go for partnership with the distilleries who are making ethanols and make the availables. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I will be
thank you,
happy
sir.
to have questions as mentioned by the organizers.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Jhat, sir, for your insightful and thought-provoking session. Now, we are extremely grateful for sharing your valuable time and sharing your knowledge in the maze. So now we'll be moving forward for queries and interaction session. Those who have questions are kindly requested to use the raise hand feature. When invited, please unmute yourself, turn on your camera, briefly introduce about yourself, and ask your query. Participants also may post their questions in the chat box. Sir, here we have
Samsung SM,
SM. Yes,
Samsung
sir.
SM. Yes,
Yeah.
please
Kindly
unmute
unmute
yourself.
yourself and tell your details.
Yeah, next can come. Actually, they are unable to do it. Samsung
Yes, sir.
SMT, please.
Okay, Dr. Sir, till that person
Sir, we
unmute.
have received. Yes.
Yes, there is a question from Saurabh Ras. Why should we use ethanol blending petrol? Because it reduces the energy density, that is mileage reduction, and it has the corrosive action. So why we should use ethanol blending?
Uh, the concerns needs to be scientifically tested, and because I'm also the vehicle users, certainly not the maize producer. Okay, but if you see the global level, sustainable innovations, only sustainable practices are there. Okay, so we are importing, crude oil, and most of the 90% of the crude oil we are importing. Okay, so if we are able to save 1.5 lakh crore rupees by doing so and providing the farmers employment and other things, right? What I mentioned for sugarcane farmers, there is no unrest. Maize farmers are getting better prices this year in the exceptional case you can see. So what I mean to say, we can generate the bioeconomy, a circular economy by doing so. And definitely the corrosive actions and these things are happening in those companies who have not, or maybe because these issues is that biofuel policy was done by the government of India in 2003. Okay, so we are not using that much vehicle which are manufactured after 2003. But what happens? Those manufacturers are being given warning, and those have not heard someone. Okay, those things needs to be addressed. I am with you. Okay, but it should be certainly tested, right? But you see, at the national level, we are having big kind of the gaining as a strategic, a partnership or strategic things where we are going to have the, at the international level, we can say that yes, we should, if the Iran-India war is there, the Iran-USA war is there, our energy security will not be depend on that because we are going to produce it. And if you see the USA also, it is producing 150 million tons of the maize for the, bioethanol. So just to have the bioeconomy and other things for employment generation and many other things we require certainly, but those genuine concern needs to be addressed. And if there is any, uh, profit is there, it should be shared among the all stakeholders, including end users. That's my viewpoint.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, we have Samsung SM. So kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. I am from Andhra Pradesh. Sir,
Yes, yes.
I am final year in Acharya Anjiranga Agriculture University ELP program, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we are growing sweet corn, golden cob variety, sir. That sweet corn is harvested, no, sir. The plants are go for bioethanol production, sir.
Actually, the plants of the maize, if you can go for any biomass for the bioethanol production. Okay. For sweet corn also you can go, but the bioethanol production, whatever cost is there at present, whatever technology level we are having, we are unable to get that break-even point where we can decide that we have to go for conversion of biomass into ethanol. So at present, no. Only grain is being used for the ethanol production. We can generate 20 liters of ethanol from dry maize biomass also per quintal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have received one question from Simi Tanya. She is studying her undergraduation from Hyderabad, Telangana. Her question is, how can we take part in startup and entrepreneurship?
Okay, one thing is from taking part in the startup, you are having agri-business incubation unit in all the in the ICR Institute as well as IIT and others. So first you go for your ideas, and whenever they go for the hackathon or any other kind of the idea generation, you just participate in that. In addition to that, you can write to the respective institute that I want to initiate agribusiness in this. Give me idea, or I can be an incubator over there. So they will guide you how to do it. Okay, that's the one thing.
Sir, she is asking about
For
the ethanol
entrepreneurship, you
production.
can decide that you can go for the small kind of the establishment of the industries, or if you want to go for the fast moving consumer goods, you can establish in 15 to 20 lakhs rupees good industry. And if you want details from our side, you can mail to pdmage@gmail.com. I will just write this message in the my chat box. You can write mail to our director that I want to establish these industries in this sector. We will get certainly a good reply. So this is email.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Simitanya is asking about the ethanol production, sir, in the way of startup.
Ethanol production as a startup, I don't think you should go in ethanol production value chain. You can be there just to dispose of DDGS, just to go for the feedstock collections. How you can go for quality feedstock supplies to the industries, because it requires a good investment. You see the 50 CR investment is there to start your business in nice manner. So that's why I would not advise you go for this kind of the thing. Just go for the aggregation and that, and you generate money, and then you can come in the bioethanol business.
Sir, we have one of our participant, Krishna Kumar Raghuvanshi, who has raised his hand. Kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Sir, myself, Krishna Raghuvanshi. I am from Uttar Pradesh. Sir, my question is, what are the correct steps for producing ethanol from maize?
Current steps.
Yes,
Steps
sir.
is only one photo I have shown. Okay, where we go for steeping of the maize for overnight for for 18 to 24 hours. Then we go for the making the whatever distillation process is there. So that we go for the generation of the ethanol. Okay, and after that you will get the ethanol in one for distillation process. Another side you will get the your watered DDGS. So that watered DDGS will go in dryer, and you will dry it, and or you can also sell the, if it's, buyers are there, wet DDGS you can do, and your ethanol will be going in the tankers or silos.
And sir, the second one is the how has the ethanol push impact on the Indian maize market?
Say ethanol push in last 2023, if you see the production was around 38 million tons, and 23 December only, maize was being allowed to use for the ethanol purpose. Previously, it was not being used. And you see 23, all the prices have been broken, and it was, touching 2,500 rupees a quintal. Okay. And 24 also the market was good, right? But 25 certainly I would say there was market in some of the states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and what I say, Gujarat and some other areas, the prices were 2/3 of the MSP. And because of that, government have also announced, you may see, first time in the history of the India, where the price MSP for maize for this year is 25 rupees more than the rice. Okay. So that was the government intention. Then government was, last year they intervened by the NCCF and NAFED, but they were unable to procure maize because their mandate ends at the MSP only. Beyond MSP, they cannot purchase. So there are good prices, most of the places, barring few places. And because of that, you see the maize production, it got increased 6 million tons, around 12% jump. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of organizing committee, I would like to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to our distinguished guest, Dr. Shankar Lal Jhat, sir. It's an honor to have the scientist of his caliber to be elected as a fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences with us today. Dr. Jhat, sir, your insights into conservation of agriculture and precision nutrient management are very valuable to our participants as well as us. We are truly inspired by your journey from Chittorgarh to the becoming a leader senior scientist of ICAR Indian Institute of Maize Research. Thank you for sharing your expertise and for your lifelong dedication in advancing Indian agriculture. Participants, please stay tuned. Our next session will begin in few minutes. We'll be transitioning immediately, so please remain focused as we move on to the next part of today's program. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Ajay ji.
Thank you
Okay,
so
all
much,
the
Daksa.
best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daksa, for blessing our audience. It was a great session, in-depth and detailed session on the bioethanol production. Thank you so much, Daksa. Dear participants, talking about the next session, there will be an international speaker who will be speaking on Sugarcrete, a sustainable solution. The sugarcane waste we see around us that is transformed and produced in the bricks, which can be used for the uh, making of houses and the buildings. So Mr. Armor Gutierrez Rivas is going to join us within few minutes. Till that time, we have a little break and drink some water. Thank you so much for joining the session. Please stay tuned. Dear participants, so we have our next guest with us. Dear Chatisha Nasta, please start the session.
Yeah, sure. Jai Hind everyone. They say nature itself is the best architect, and waste is only a resource in the wrong place. In a country where sugarcane fields stretch across our landscape, we often see only food and fuel. But today, we discover how even agricultural waste can become a foundation of sustainable cities. Sugarcane, a crop rooted deeply in rural livelihoods, now stand at crossroads of innovation and sustainability. But what was once considered residue is today shaping the future of low carbon construction. This powerful idea brings us to today's topic, Sugarcrete, a sustainable solution. We are truly honored to have with us a visionary speaker who has transformed this idea into reality. Armor Gutierrez Rivas. Welcome, sir. Is a senior lecturer and principal investigator at the School of Architecture, Computing and Engineering, University of East London. He is an architect, researcher, and educator internationally known for his pioneering work in circular design, bio-based material, and sustainable architecture. He is an inventor of sugarcrete, a revolutionary low-carbon construction material made from sugarcane waste recognized globally for its contribution to carbon sequestration and open source innovation. His outstanding work has been honored with the Times Higher Education Award 2024 and the Nature Award 2024 and was shortlisted for the prestigious Earthshot Prize 2025. Sugarcrete has already found application across India, Nepal, Brazil, Kenya, proving that sustainable ideas have no boundaries. With professional experience at globally renowned firms such as BIG, MVRDV, and KPF, and exhibition at platforms like Vanish Architecture Binale and Royal Academy of Art, London. Today's speaker truly embodies the spirit of innovation with impact. Before we proceed, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. O.P. Chaudhary sir for his constant guidance and encouragement, and Ajay Kasana sir for his valuable support and presence, which always inspire us to move forward with purpose. The future of construction is not built by consuming more, but by reimagining what we already have. With these inspiring thoughts, I warmly invite Mr. Armas Gutierrez Rivas to take the stage and enlighten us with his insights on sugarcrete, a sustainable solution. Please, sir, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, it's all okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the generous introduction. I look forward to sharing our work and our research with such an esteemed audience. And first, I wanted to thank the University of Haryana and also the Parietam Foundation for their welcoming when we visited Hisar last time in March 2025. And we are planning a new visit this year. So we are very excited to meet you all when we are there in person. The project that I want to share today with you all started already 4 years ago and is a project that we have called Sugarcrete, a global material for a global crisis. Are you able to see my screen at the moment?
Yes, sir. It's all okay.
Perfect.
It's good.
Thank you very much. So it's a project that started as a collaboration of the Master of Architecture and the Sustainability Research Institute in the University of East London. And it has a team that is an interdisciplinary collaboration with architects, researchers, and material scientists, supported by engineers and 2 PhD students that are developing at the moment different paths for the material. Myself, Armor Gutierrez Rivas, I'm an architect. As you very generously introduced me, I have 15 years of professional experience in international practices across the world and 10 years of experience as a senior lecturer and principal investigator at the University of East London. My partner, Alan Chandler, also an architect with many years of experience on renovation and utilizing biomaterials for the built environment, and Banda Dayati, another of the co-creators of the material, a material scientist expert on biomaterials and life cycle assessments, which has been fundamental for the development of this as a low carbon technology. The question that we ask ourselves, one of the main problems that we see with the construction sector is the amount of materials that is extracting globally. At the moment, the building and construction sector accounts for about 50% of all the material that we extract globally, whereas for mining, for timber, or for different resources. We all know that we are on a fight against global warming and that we want to limit the amount of heating that this is going to happen in the world. We also know that to limit it below 1.5 degrees Celsius, we need to create technologies that allow us to store this carbon. These technologies, of course, already exist, and one of them, very well known, is the use of timber in construction. However, timber as biomass has limitations due to the restriction of where species that can provide material for construction can be grown. And these are mainly restricted to global north economies. On the other hand, in the global south, we see an abundance of agricultural byproducts. We don't like to call it waste because everything has a use and a value. And particularly in the Indian context, there is an abundance of bagasse, which is the byproduct of sugarcane production, as you all well know. Here in these two photos, there is a contrast between the production of clay bricks, which is the material of use currently throughout India, which is polluting the air, is often using coal and biomass, releasing CO2 to the atmosphere and generating a very polluted industry, which uses clay that also erodes the topsoil of the country and produces a construction material that often is too strong for the applications that are required. It's often used as infill, as partition walls on applications that you don't require such a compressive strength. So what we said is like, can we utilize the resource on the right, which is also extremely abundant in India, agricultural byproducts, to create construction materials? So that's a question that we asked ourselves a few years ago when we were working in the Royal Docks in East London in 2021, 2022. And we started working with local waste, which in our case was provided by Tate & Lyle, one of the largest sugar refineries in the country. We started to look at sugarcane, and doing a bit of research, we realized that it's the world's largest crop by production volume, and that after processing, around 1/3 of the plant mass is left over as bagasse, which becomes the largest bio-waste supply chain in the world. The production of bagasse globally could provide enough material to potentially replace the brick industry altogether, which accounts for between 3 and 4% of the overall global emissions. That means that per second in the world, there are 20,000 kilos of bagasse produced. So during the duration of this presentation, you could create 72 million bricks, which is enough to build 10,000 80 square meter houses in these 45 minutes to 1 hour that we will be sharing the project together. There are alternatives, other biomaterials, other agricultural waste that is existing, but the ones that have found a route to markets, for instance, hemp is a material that is being spread, is used in India for construction as well, and in Europe and in North America. It has limitations, which have to do with the little amount of crop available in the world. At the same time, the rapid growth of sugarcane allows for a high CO2 absorption rate. That means that compared with traditional forestry, for instance, is capturing CO2 50 times faster, or compared with hemp, 20 times faster. That has to do with two factors. One is the growth of the plant, which is faster. And the second one is the economical allocation, that in the case of sugarcane is all allocated to sugar and to molasses, which is what has the commercial value. By placing the fibers in particular ways and angles and using the right binders, we can achieve structural applications for Sugarcrete. That means that we can create load-bearing walls and load-bearing slabs. And we can do that while using very little amount of land. So for instance, this diagram is a comparison of how much square meters of crop you need to create 1 square meter of wall of material. If we use CLT on the top, which is cross-laminated timber, so a solid wall using timber, you will need 11 square meters of forestry. If you use a timber frame, which is using vertical structural timber elements and then panels on the side, you will need 5 square meters. However, if you use sugarcane bagasse, you only need half square meter, which is a significant saving in terms of land use. Once we have identified the opportunities, which I have highlighted, we set up ourselves a number of goals and strategies, meaning what do we want to do with the material? What do we want the material to become and how do we want to handle it? Do we want this to be an invention that is patented and accessible to very little people? Or we want to share it and to do it as much as possible open source so everyone can benefit from the technology globally? We initially started with this line of thinking and currently are combining both an open source and a licensing strategy at the same time. The first goal, the most obvious and straightforward one, is that we want to store as much carbon as possible. So we want to store the carbon that is being absorbed while the plant is growing into materials that can last for decades. We want to do that through an open source strategy that can facilitate employment opportunities for plantation communities, particularly in the global south where the material grows. And we want these materials to be alternatives. So we don't want to create materials that are just left on a shelf or an exhibition area, but that can be actual alternatives to the way people are building at the moment, and that can replace high performance construction materials. At the moment, the sugarcane production line, as you may be familiar with, is linear. That means that while the sugarcane is growing, as shown in the diagram on the left, there is CO2 that is absorbed, and then there is CO2 that is released because most of this bagasse is burned. Up to 70% of this bagasse is burned to run the boilers. There is 30% that has very little commercial value, and in some areas of the world is just left to decompose in the fields, or they continue burning it just to get rid of it. So that 30% is the one that we want to use to start creating construction materials. That means that if we implement this strategy, the linear current model that is operating, it can become circular. This 30% of byproduct that is an excess at the moment can be mixed with mineral binders, can be compressed using very simple adaptable machinery, and we could create blocks. These blocks are designed so they can be reused at the end of life of the building, so they can be separated and you can use them for other buildings, or they can be crushed and then composted as soil stabilization, or they can also be back into the construction line. So around 30% of the crushed brick can be part of the construction line once again. This allows for fair trade model, for circularity on the construction and on the production of sugarcane, end-of-life reuse, and also contextualization, so working contextually to where we are operating. The machinery that we are using both in India and in other countries where we are operating is cost-effective, so it doesn't require a large investment and is widely available. Often we are using machinery that is used for concrete blocks or for brick production, transforming it with small adjustments and then producing sugarcrete with them. That's allowing us to support a global network that is growing, and we are aiming to grow it even further. So this is a call for you to get in touch if you have any opportunities to develop the material in India or elsewhere. We are open to hear for opportunities and new collaborations. And at the moment, this is the world map where we are operating. We have projects in India, in Africa, in several locations. We are now working in Kenya and Mozambique. We have projects in Spain where there is a small production of sugarcane in the south, in Americas, in Brazil, Costa Rica, and in the United States. We do this through either open source for socially minded projects where we share all the information and all the testing that we do in our website and people can take it from there. We also have collaboration and IP framework agreements where we establish support and consultancy services for people that want to establish production lines for commercial purposes. We also support with research and technology improvement of existing production lines. We are not the only ones that are working with bagasse globally. There are companies that are trying to implement the same technology in many countries. So we offer our research and technology capabilities to them, which is giving us an opportunity to create a very broad partners range. So we are collaborating with companies, with small institutions, with NGOs, like the collaboration we are doing in Hisar at the moment, with artists that want to test the material, furniture designers, architects locally, and large corporations. So it's quite a broad range of opportunities. The way we collaborate is by initially, we ask a signature of a non-disclosure agreement, so we protect the intellectual property, and we do supply of material where we can collaborate with our partners that are currently producing blocks, and then they produce blocks for people that might want to use them in projects. We also have know-how packages, so we transfer the know-how to companies that might want to utilize the technology, and technical packages, so the material and the machinery can be very easily implemented. We have partner policies where we put a lot of emphasis of ethics and safeguarding, so we make sure that the partners that we are working with, they adhere to our policies. And then we sign project agreements where we support with certification, social science and fieldwork, product development, certification and investment. And so far is generating global impact, which is environmental, social, and economical. Some of the testing that we do internally in our laboratory is always to industry standards. So we conduct this testing internally at our facilities, and then we verify it externally globally. Different countries, they have different certifications and different requirements. So far, we have certified for thermal conductivity, so the capacity of the material to protect from heat exchange. And it has provided very good results, which means that if you use the material and you have a very efficient heating or cooling system internally, then you keep the space warm or cool, depending on the season. It has a very good fire rating due to the binders that has used. It has achieved the highest fire rating available, which is class A1. It can achieve load-bearing compressive strength for 1 or 2 story buildings, and it's lightweight. So it has low density, which means that it doesn't put a lot of weight on a structure in case you want to use it as an infill. And then 2 other properties that are worth mentioning as well. Acoustically, is performing very well due to the fibers and the texture of the material. And it has very good moisture buffer value, which is the capacity of the material to absorb humidity. So for instance, if there is an environment internally with very high humidity levels, the material is able to absorb that humidity and hence is regulating the humidity of the environment, which helps also regulate the comfort, minimizing the energy bill and optimizing the comfort of the building or the dwelling. Testing equipment that we have available at the university and that we offer as part of our support to companies that want to establish or create production lines. And another support that we do is the life cycle assessment, which is the carbon footprint that the material can absorb during their life cycles. In this case, this is a calculation of life cycle assessment for the block that we have produced in India, which we are calling it the Sugarcrete block, and it's sequestering around 85 kg or 85 kg per block, which means that is 6 times lower than clay and 3 times lower than concrete. The fact that it's negative means that you can claim carbon credits from the material. So that means that if you are using 2,000 blocks, you are sequestering 1,500 kg of CO2, which you can sell to the carbon credit market. So you can get funding, additional money out of that. I wanted to now share some case studies of what we have done so far with the material. Some of it is more in collaboration with architects or engineering firms. Other projects are in collaboration with industrial partners, and they touch on different scales and different binders for the material. The first one that I wanted to share is one project that we call Sugarcrete slab, which was aiming to create a structural slab that could be used to replace concrete slabs. It's an interlocking prototype, which is using one geometry and switching the orientation of the geometry to create a piece of parts, kits that can be adapted and reused to different potential applications. It was a collaboration with Grimshaw Architects, AKT2 Engineers, and Tate & Lyle Sugars. We started looking at stereotomy as an ancient legacy and strategies of using stone or bricks to create elements that can interlock together and keep structural safe. And we started to look at arches and vaults as potential applications of the material. We were very interested by the work of an engineer called Abeille that at the end of the 17th century developed the Abeille vault, which was an interlocking kit of parts using stone to create a flat vault, a vault that didn't require an arch to work. And that's what we did. We used the same system, reinventing the system for materials of the futures, for biomaterials. And we use bagasse. So all these blocks are using bagasse and silica binders. And the beauty of the system is that they don't have mortar. So they are just loose elements that just by compressing the perimeter, they are kept in place. That compression happens with the number of metal rods that are placed on the perimeter of the piece. And this was calculated to span 3 meters times 3 meters without intermediate support. These are some of the tests that we did in the university. We created initially a 3D model, and then we 3D scan all the elements one by one to assess the shrinkage, the reduction of each one of the blocks, which could be then incorporated in the tolerances of the construction system. And this is us assembling the prototype. All the pieces in the middle are loose. And then at the perimeter, we have a number of metal rods that are compressing the whole structure and that can be then installed, meaning that you can then open the slab and move all the individual pieces to other location in case the building is not in use anymore or in case it's a temporary use of a building. This is how it looks. As I mentioned before, it could span 3 times 3 meters. We built a bit less. This is 1.5 times 1.5 as a demonstrator. And we tested internally. So we put it on top of columns and we loaded with 12 people and it didn't move a tiny bit. And this is a traditional way of testing structures. In cathedral and Roman times, the main architect and engineer will stand under the arch before removing the support, and then that will be the testimony that the arch was properly built. So in this case, we wanted to play homage to that technique and just load it ourselves. And now the installation is exhibited in the Royal Academy of Arts in London. The second collaboration has a completely different scale and was looking more at the colonial legacy of sugarcane as a crop and how it spread across the world through different practices which were not always the adequate. So it was denouncing that role that historically the material and the crop had. And it was a collaboration with artist Gail Chong Kwang and exhibited in the Young Hansard Gallery in London, in the UK. And this was done as part of exhibition that was running for a month in the collaboration between the University of East London and this artist that initially was coming from Mauritius and from the Isle of Wight. The exhibition was called A Pocket Full of Sand, and it was exhibited in John Hansard Gallery from the 10th of February to the 11th of May of 2024. And then finally, this is the project that I want to describe a bit more in detail, which is the one that we are doing in India. These are the blocks that we are assembling, and it's a collaboration with Chemical System Technologies, the Ministry of Education, and is funded by UKRI Higher Education Innovation Fund in the UK. I will quickly change my screen to show a quick video, and I will be back with you in a second. Apologies, I was unable to make the video work, so I will just send the link later so you can view it. Can you see the screen again?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I will continue. This is the project that I was describing in India, which was a demonstrator of the use of the material, and that is currently located in Noida in the Panchil Intercollege Lab, and it can be visited and is now currently developing workshops explaining the material and explaining the potential of biomaterials within the Indian context. It was the site was provided by the Ministry of Education of India, located inside the complex of the college, and it was a proof of concept for further implementation in other areas as a one-story building, which is used as a laboratory and as a center for innovation and development, and it's been monitored. So we are monitoring the air quality and the insulation properties of the material compared to a control room and compared to outdoor conditions. We created a block to develop, and we did this in collaboration with Chemical System Technologies, who were manufacturing the blocks and also invested a lot of time and resources in the technology. And we use a combination of bagasse and lime to create the blocks. The interlocking geometry means that is reducing wall displacement under seismic activity. So there is a groove that each one of these blocks is having, and they interlock with each other, meaning that if the wall is moving, it becomes stronger as a whole, and it's also minimizing the amount of mortar that is required to put the blocks together. We developed a prototype to create lintels as well, so we could create openings on the wall for the doors and for the windows. And we created one of these lintels using different binders. So in this case, was using silica binders instead of mineral binders. And we managed to span almost 1 meter without any intermediate support and tested for resistance. This is a section of the building. We were prioritizing natural ventilation, so it has low-level entrance for fresh air, and then a high-level clerestory truss, so it can ventilate, and it provides also verandas on the south and the north. So the walls are protected from heavy rain, and you also create an outdoor space for the users to enjoy. And this is our trip. That's myself in our first visit already 3 years ago in India, where we were seeing the production line and explaining the assembly of the wall to the team of chemical system technologies. And currently the production facility located in Noida in New Delhi is creating 400 blocks a day and is offering employment opportunities for plantation communities in different areas of Uttar Pradesh. This is the production line that we set up, which is widely available and cost effective. And these are some photos of the building of the blocks. So these are all the blocks put together using lime mortar and using force that is not necessarily trained for the use of the blocks, just is trained for the use of the bricks, and that's sufficient to put them together and to create the walls, which they were, according to the master bricklayer, working with the blocks feels easy. They are light, but yes, robust, practical, and easy to align. So for us, it was really rewarding to see that these blocks were having the same opportunities than brick or concrete blocks. We were from the beginning as well very aware that in order for us to create an alternative for the market, they have to be cost competitive. So from the beginning, we target the same cost as a perforated brick, which is a brick that is typically used for external walls. And currently, we are able to produce them at a cost that is comparable with perforated clay bricks. These are some photos of the production process, contrasting the biomaterial use at the front with the concrete and stone structures at the back. And some more in-between processes with the lintel created at the height of the windows, and then an upstand, which was lifting the wall 150 millimeters from the ground, protecting from heavy rain. And then the rendering, both externally and internally, it can be rendered with cement, with lime, or with clay. Some photos of the building already finished. These are already 2 years old, and the building is aging very well. Has been no attack from insect, termite, there's been no cracks, and is performing very well in terms of thermal and acoustic performance. And is running workshops. So we are keeping the building active. Is constantly, every week, there is different sessions, interactive sessions and monitoring sessions with the students from the college, but also from other schools across Delhi and across Uttar Pradesh. The project, which touches at a different scale, and it was creating a set of products that could be used for the European market, both in the UK and in Spain. And it was a collaboration with a company that was already looking at the use of bagasse locally to create panels. We co-developed an acoustic panel that could be used for retrofitting existing buildings acoustically and thermally, and for improving acoustic qualities of educational facilities, music studios, recording studios, or dwellings. This is the design that we put together. It was a modular component that could be rotated in different ways to create the composition that you see in the photo. It was modular and reconfigurable, and the molds are manufactured for reusability. So you could put them back together and create different geometries. We tested colors, adding mineral clay pigments to the material and creating a color palette that it was very successful. These are the first prototypes that we built at the university with the students from our university in collaboration with the students from Spain. And we did a field trip to see where the sugarcane was grown in the south of Europe. And this map highlights locations where sugarcane is available. And this is the view. It's very close to the Mediterranean Sea. It's a very beautiful area of the south of Spain. And they wanted to use sugarcane not only for production, but also as a touristic attraction. So there is a lot of people that are coming to look at the fields, to walk the fields of sugarcane, and are attracted by the good weather, but also by the experience of being able to cut the cane, produce, in this case, is used for rum production, and then they produce some of the biomaterial panels as well out of the same cane. And finally, one final slide with a couple of projects that we are developing that are still under development, but we are very excited about. The first one is with the Pariatam Foundation, where we are co-designing a learning and community center in Hisar. And we will be coming again to Hisar to present the design to the foundation and to the different partners. We have a project in Newham, which is called Over the Tracks, where we are developing public furniture using the material. So these are benches and planters that have been developed to create a modular element that can then be replicated and adapted to different geometries. And then finally, this is a prototype that we are doing for a festival called Burning Man, which will be a temporary prototype built in the desert of Nevada in the States, using very thin shell geometries to create, using again Sugarcrete reinforced with fibers, but with very thin amount of material. And we are looking also to use Sugarcrete for hybridity. So in this case, this is a hybrid of bamboo construction and Sugarcrete, where both materials contribute to each other. The Pariatam Foundation has a mission to support children that left education early, and by providing non-formal education, they manage to support communities which are in disadvantage. And we are co-designing with them a community and learning center, which is going to be able to host between 150 and 200 kids, and is going to be located in Hisar. So we were working with Master of Architecture students last year to co-design the facility, and we are looking at starting the construction in the following year. Thank you very much. The website of the university contains a lot of information, reports, and also videos that explain the use of the material. And as I mentioned, the aim is to transition from sugarcane byproducts or waste into materials that can add value to the crop and can also sequester carbon and build environment that is healthier and is also empowering local communities by producing where the material is made. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Your session was indeed very nice, and thank you so much for coming here. Let our participant know that how you can take out best out of waste. Thank you so much, sir. Now, with your due permission, can we go for Q&A session, sir?
Of course.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So, participant, now we are having a Q&A session. So, please use raise hand feature. Firstly, when called, unmute yourself and then introduce briefly and then ask your query. You can also put your question in chat box to ask the Agri SAARTHI. So, please continue. Ms. Hina, Agri SAARTHI, you may ask your question.
Good evening, sir. I am Hustina. I'm doing my PG in MSc Environmental Science. So my question is, in one of the slides, you have mentioned the Sugarcrete can absorb humidity. So I'm from Kerala. Here we will have long and intense rainy season. So will it affect the stability of the material? And can we use this material, that is Sugarcrete, here? That's my question, sir.
Thank you very much for the question, Musina. The absorption of humidity is related to the properties of the material and to the render that you utilize to protect the material. So if you render the material with a render that is waterproof, then there is no problem. It can be used in areas where there is heavy rain, and it will still perform as absorbing the humidity. So there is no issue with that. It can be used in areas where there is heavy rain and for periods such as monsoon or periods of very intense rain. What we always recommend, as I mentioned, is to lift the material from the ground So if there is flooding, the material is protected from the flooding. But other than that, it can be used, and it is completely weather resistant and waterproof once it's applied properly and rendered properly.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ina. Thank you, sir. Now there is another question from Anushka Bharatwal from Uttarakhand. Third year student of BSc Agriculture from VCSG UUHS Barzar. Her question is, what is the lifespan of this Sugarcrete blocks, and is it not affected by high humidity and moisture in environment? And what is the current production status of this in India? And as a student, how can we contribute to this globally revolutionary idea to help reduce carbon emissions? Like, how can a farmer contact this kind of industry to supply raw materials so that it will help both the farmer and the. Please, sir.
Okay, that's quite a lot of questions into one. I will try
Sorry?
to. It's few questions in one. I will try to answer and not miss any of them. I think the first one is to do with the longevity of the material. At the moment, the lifespan of the material is 35 years. So that's what we have certified for, which is what is required to achieve carbon credits. So for 35 years, the material can be fully certified. And then regarding collaborations with students or with local farmers, we are very interested into potential collaborations. There is still a lot of research that needs to be done on the material. So any opportunities, there is research that is ongoing and PhD opportunities that we have to develop this research. And in terms of farmers, if it's sugarcane farmers, we are very glad to support them. If it's farmers of different crops, we are also testing the use of rice husk to create construction blocks and the use of corn. So this is not the only crop that we are looking at. However, the research has been more developed on sugarcane so far.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now there is a question from Sneha that this session about Sugarcrete blog is really quite interesting and appreciating. How can we attend if any workshop available on it, and how can we get chance to visit his workshop on Sugarcrete blog? Please, sir.
There are workshops that are running at the moment in Noida. So we are running weekly workshops in Noida, and we will be very glad to organize a workshop for students of Haryana if they want to attend one of these sessions that are already running. And as I mentioned before, we are also visiting Hisar at the end of March, and we will be very glad to organize a workshop there as well, where we could do a live session in person and a hands-on workshop showing the use of the material. So if anyone wants to take this further, you have my email contact, and we will be very glad to organize a session where we can show some of the blocks, you can touch them, you can touch the raw material, and then create some of the wall construction yourself as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now there is another question from Ravi. He's a second year student from IAS BHU, and he want to know that how do you make the money from this, and how and where did you find the market? As this is a very new to the market, also want to ask about demerits of this because it is really worked in India. We can appreciate reduce environment footprint and preserve our soils.
Yes, it's a market that is new in India, as in is new globally as well, but is growing year after year. Last year, the biomaterial market grew 15% in many countries across Europe and the UK, and is expected to continue growing year after year. In India, it's starting now, it's in early stages, but it's already attracting a lot of attention. And it builds on policies against climate change and towards decarbonization of the built environment. So we are expecting a growth on the market in the next years. Currently, the production that we have got is happening in Delhi, in Noida, and we have capabilities to export anywhere within the Indian territory. for any order size. So we are looking at opportunities to deploy the material and to test it and to create pilot and prototype projects where we can see the use of the material benefiting local communities.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now there is a question from Krishna Kumar Aghivansi. You may unmute yourself and ask your query.
Hello, sir. Myself Krishna Raghuvanshi. Sir, there are many uses of sugarcane byproduct like energy generation, uh, production of paper and ethanol. So how did this technology different from the other uses of sugarcane byproduct in the form of profitability, usability, and the less effect of this technology on atmosphere? And sir, why the farmer and agriculture student choose this technology on the place of other uses of sugar byproduct?
Thank you, Krishna, for the question. So the main difference between the uses that bagasse has at the moment and Sugarcrete is that this is a long life product. So all the other uses of bagasse are short life, which means that they don't sequester carbon, whether it's for cutlery or for plates, which is used for paper. All those applications are short life, which means that there is no carbon sequestration and there is no positive impact for climate change mitigation. And that means as well that you cannot get carbon credits out of that use, because what we are implementing as a technology is long term. As I mentioned before, it has a lifespan of 35 years. That means that the carbon is sequestered that amount of time, and that means that you can get monetary incentives. So for every ton of CO2 that you capture, every 1,000 kg of CO2, you get around 50 pounds, British pounds of money at the moment in the market, which is growing every year as well. So there are two advantages. One is in terms of climate mitigation, and the second one is an additional economic incentive because there is opportunities to get carbon credits out of the material.
And sir, the second one is what are the process for producing sugarcrete from sugarcane by product?
The process is mixing the bagasse with mineral binders. So we have different binders depending on the application. There are binders that are locally available and they are cost effective as well. So these binders are mixed with the bagasse and with water, and then applying a bit of pressure, you create the blocks.
And sir, according to you, what are the major barriers and market of this technology in India? Because sir, India is a major country in the production of sugarcane.
So the main challenges that we are facing, they have to do with certification of the material. So any construction material needs to be certified for a number of tests, which are, as I mentioned before, fire, thermal, compressive strength, resistant to insects, acoustic, moisture buffer value. And all these tests are very expensive and they need to be done per country. So at the moment, we have done most of them in India and for the UK, but every time that you want to implement the technology in a new area or a new country, you need to do the test again, and it's costly and lengthy. So so far, we have spent around 2 years developing the technology, and the cost of certifying a product for market is quite high. So I think that for us, the main challenge is been going from laboratory all the way to market and making sure that is accepted and it finds a marketplace, which is where we are at the moment, is what we are looking at in India. And other countries that we are working at, we are, in many cases, we are starting the certification process from zero because it's not, you cannot export certification in between certain countries. We have learned a lot, so we know how to certify faster and we know the type of products that you need and the type of samples, but still is a process that you need to start every time that you want to address a new market or a new geographical area.
Okay, thank you,
Okay, sir.
sir. Now,
Thank you for the valuable time.
okay, thank you, Krishna. And now let's move on to the next question. Now, Piyush Kumar Yadav, you may unmute yourself and ask your query.
Good evening, sir. I'm Piyush Kumar from Bihar. Sir, my question is there any substrate or any other material instead of bagasse to make these sugar crates? And why you choose bagasse for making sugar crates?
Yes, so as I mentioned before, we are testing other fibers. So we have tested rice husk, taifa, corn, other crops. The one that performs the best so far from our research is bagasse, and it has to do with two aspects. First is the length of the fibers. When you take bagasse from a sugar mill, the length of the fibers is ideal. They are not too long, but they are also not too short, which means that they connect with each other when you create the blocks. And it's also in a very good condition. It's typically having a good level of humidity and is ready to use. Whereas, for instance, other byproducts, they require post-processing. We have been looking at coconut fiber, we have been looking at palm fibers. They are all valid alternatives as well, but they require post-processing, which increases the price and increases the energy, which means that there is less carbon sequestration per block. So bagasse is, for us, is the ideal byproduct, but the same technology can be utilized for other crops and other fibers.
Sir, is there any biochemical or natural chemical that are responsible for sugar crates that are making hard?
It's a mineral binder. It's not biochemical. It's mineral sand-based binder, silica-based.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, with your due permission, may I continue with some more questions, sir? Okay, thank you, sir. Now, there is a question from Sohan from West Bengal. Currently, he is pursuing his graduation in third year horticulture. Student at BUAT Banda. The ideas which you shared through your PPT is amazing. But my doubt, which I want to share, that traditional sugarcane production has significant negative environment impact like high water usage, soil degradation, etc. Is this industry's backhand doesn't promote the production of sugarcane to make this industry sustainable?
That's a very good question, and we are aware of the issues related to sugarcane plantation. However, at the moment, there is a large amount of byproduct available. So we don't see this as a technology that will require more byproduct to be generated, rather that can raise the value of the byproduct that is already in the market. And I think India is very diligent, and most of the bagasse that you produce is finding a use, whether it's for running the engines, producing electricity in the mills, or creating short life products. But there are many countries across the world that they don't have any use for their bagasse. So we have been in conversations with countries in Latin America where bagasse is just burned on the fields or is left to decay. So globally, there is a large availability of byproducts, and within India, there is a percentage of bagasse that can very easily be transformed into construction. And there is so much of it that is enough for all the different waste streams that are currently available. The availability of material is really overwhelming when you understand the numbers beyond it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we move on next question. This is from Shubham that he want to ask that plastic waste is the major problem for the world. can plastic waste can be blended with it? How it affects the strength and lifetime of sugarcrete? Is there other product made up of sugarcane you are developing? Please tell.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't fully understand
Sure, sir, sure. So there is a question that plastic waste is the major problem for the world. Can plastic waste can be blended with it? How it affect the strength and lifetime of sugarcane? Is there other product made up of sugarcane you are developing?
Thank you very much. Yes, very good question regarding plastic waste. And we are actually using plastic waste as part of the production line. So the blocks that you saw that are being produced in Noida, there is a moment in the production line that they need to be placed in boards for the brick to dry. And those boards are using recycled plastic from a local company in India that takes plastic from the streets and creates these boards. So we are integrating it into the production system. And regarding new products, yes, as I mentioned, we are developing acoustic panels, which are not intended as walls or blocks, but more as retrofit opportunities. And we are also looking at structural elements to create slabs as the first example that I mentioned. So at the moment, we have 3 or 4 products or applications of the products that we could use.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now there is a question from Vijay Kumari. Is there any company which is producing this sugarcrete in South India? If you want to collaborate for sugarcrete block production, is it possible? What we have to do for this?
Thank you very much. We are currently collaborating with a company in Delhi. So that's our main partner in India. We don't have any collaborators in south of India, but we are open to hear from potential collaborations. So if anyone wants to suggest a collaboration for either testing the material, producing blocks, or getting with some of the workshops that we organize, I would suggest that you go to our website, which is the website of the university, Sugarcrete UEL, and there you have our contact details. So you can send us an email, explain the collaboration with as much detail as you can, and then we will reply in due time.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now let's move on to the next question. This question is by Simi Tanya. She have asked 3 questions. First one is sugarcrete resistance to microbial attack? Second, is sugarcrete approved under India building standards like, for example, how many storage building can build? What kind of R and D is currently happening in sugarcrete tech?
Yes, so as I mentioned before, we have done testing against termite infestation, and we have also done testing against bacteriology and mycology, and they have all been negative. And in terms of the amount of stories that you can build, you can use it for 1 to 2 stories if it's load bearing, and with no limitations if it's infill. So it could be infill in existing or new concrete structures or metal structures, for instance.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. These are all the questions. Thank you for answering all the questions, sir. It's really great to have answers from you, and it's really great to have your presence in today's session. Thank you, sir. And now, on
Okay.
behalf of Agri SAARTHI team, I
Wait,
extend my
excuse me.
heartfelt gratitude. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Asta. Okay, I do also have a question. Armor, actually, you have mentioned that the lifespan of this sugarcane is about 35 years. But basically, if you talk about India, Indian scenario, the people who built their homes, they look forward to at least 60 to 70 years for the first generation, and they carry forward the same legacy to the next generation. So they build the homes at least for the 50 years, but the lifespan of our product is 35 years only. That is the first thing. And um, like how we will cope up with the mindset of the people, because if they are going to invest in such type of thing, and they are already have a lot of options in India. So why should they go for sugarcane? Although we are having the cutting edge regarding the environment and our sustainability things, but how you will cope up with the mindset. Second question is there any fire problem because this is a sugarcane waste material. Okay, so in my point of view, there may be problem regarding the like fire resistance. So what you have did for this fire resistance? So these are the two questions from myself, please.
Yes, so starting with the last one, we have tested for fire resistant in three different accredited laboratories. And the last testing that we have done, we built a wall of 3 times 3 meters, and the wall stood for 4 hours with 1,100 degrees on one end, with no change of temperature on the other end. So it's resistant to fire above any of the testing that is required. That means that you can build even for high fire risk areas such as fire escape corridors or laboratories. And that test has been done in an accredited laboratory, and we have all the reports required to prove it. Regarding the lifespan, the 35 years, it doesn't mean that after 35 years the material fails. The material would last 50, 100, 200 years if it's well maintained. 35 years is what the certification is asking you to do. So all the testing that we have done is to 35 years, but it doesn't mean that after 35 years is a fail. It's just that because we are asked to certify 35 years, that's what we have provided. But the test continues running and the material continues lasting. This said, the material, as any other biomaterial, requires certain maintenance. So every 10 years, the walls, they will need to be repainted or they will need to be repaired, but the same as you will have if you have bricks or concrete blocks. So there is certain amount of care that needs to be put into it. And then your last question regarding why people would be attracted or will choose the material, I think that's by fault. On one hand, it's a material that you can produce yourself. So if you are close to a plantation or you are a farmer and you have availability to bagasse, you could do it and you could build with it yourself. And second, it provides a very healthy environment. In times where summers are getting warmer and it's more and more difficult, there are schools in India that cannot be used because of the high temperature that you are having over summer periods. Having a material that insulates from the heat very well is an advantage, and it creates healthier environments. So we believe that that's a very strong selling point for Sugarcrete.
Okay, thank you so much for clearing that out. We have two more participants who want to ask the queries. If you provide some little more time, because it is a very interesting topic and people
Okay,
really want to know more about it. So can we carry forward the Q&A session for 5 minutes, please?
Yes, we can do 5 more minutes. That's fine.
Okay, thank you so much. So Asmit, please ask your query.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you are audible, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, my name is Jaspreet Chaturvedi. I am from Banda. I pursuing my degree program BTech Food Technology in Banda University of Agriculture and Technology, Banda. Sir, my question is, how can Sugarcrete support climate smart agriculture and climate resilience rural infrastructure? Hello.
Sorry, could you repeat the question again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, how can Sugarcrete support climate smart agriculture and climate resilient rural infrastructure?
So what we are aiming to do to support and to mitigate particular climate change is to use
Yes,
it as
sir.
a carbon sequestration technology.
Yes.
So the blocks, as I explained, they are sequestering carbon and they are able to store this carbon for a period of time that is enough to have an impact and to reduce the amount of CO2 emissions globally.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, Arman. Thank you, Smith. Now we have the last question for today's session. Smith, you can unmute and ask a query.
Hello, sir. Myself, Smith. I have a question. How could you make this brick surface more smoother? Is there any coating or a paint?
Yes, the blocks are rendered. So the photos that I was showing of the school in India, there you apply a render the same as you apply a render over brick wall. So in that case, we use a lime-based render, which is an ancient technology that was used in the Red Fort already and allows the material to breathe. So we are always encouraging that any applications of the wall with Sugarcrete, they use lime render finishes, which then can be painted with any color that you want.
Okay, okay. And one more question, sir. As you are based from London, what's the current situation of the farmers' protest, and what's your thought on it?
Farmers' protests where? Apologies.
Since 3 weeks in Europe and especially in London.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from originally from Spain, and all the issues that we had in terms of farmers' protests have to do with people leaving the countryside to live in big cities and not being able to continue creating good quality of life in agricultural lands because everybody wants to live in the cities. So the government is now having incentives for people to live in the countryside, and they are trying to, through green technologies, they are trying to attract people back to the countryside. So we are hoping that Sugarcrete could do something similar as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And could you please share your background and how was your journey?
Yes, I mean, we shared the background at the beginning of the call. So I'm an architect, and I started looking at biomaterials 3 years ago at the University of East London. But previous to that, I always had a very strong interest in construction and construction in a sustainable way.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Armor, for coming and share their thoughts about the Sugarcrete. Really, it is going to be a revolutionary idea or the product in the coming days in India or the worldwide, we can say, because it is a sustainable product, and it is very useful for not only for the farmers but for the entrepreneurs. Like, we have the participants from all over the country, India. So anyone of the participants, if they will be interesting, definitely we will try to let them connect with you and come forward for this noble cause. And we thank you so much because you have so patiently answered all the queries. So it is a good thing, and it is a good day to have you as a guest. So thank you so much, Arma.
Perfect.
Asta?
Thank you very much, everyone. A pleasure to share our work with you.
Yes, Asta, please conclude.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, on behalf of Agri SAARTHI team, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Armor Gutierrez Rivas, for his enlightening and inspiring session on Sugarcrete, a sustainable solution. His innovative work on bio-based materials and circular design has beautifully demonstrated how agriculture waste like sugarcane can be transformed into sustainable, low-carbon solution for the construction industry. His insights have truly encouraged us to think beyond conventional boundaries and align innovation with sustainability. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. O.P. Chaudhary sir for his continuous guidance, vision, and encouragement, which remain a strong pillar of support for Agri SAARTHI. My special gratitude goes to Ajay Kasana sir for his valuable presence and constant motivation, which inspire us to keep moving forward with the purpose and commitment. I also thank all participants for their active participation and enthusiasm, which made today's session meaningful and successful. With this, I conclude the session with a thought: when agriculture meets innovation, sustainability becomes a shared future. So now there is a reminder for students. Attendance link is shared in the chat box. Please fill it before you leave. And tomorrow we will meet at same time, 6 to 8 p.m. So please be there. The presence makes every day more great and efficient. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Asta. And Today, I would like to convey a message to all the participants. Actually, there are 700 participants registered for this training program, but it is very sad to see on the data that our office provided. Only 250 participants are full on attendance, and more than 350 students are very short of attendance. So we will be not in a condition to allow them to sit in the exam and to be eligible for the certificates. So it is my humble request and as well as the sincere advice to all of you that please attend the coming 15 day sessions because I think these sessions are adding some value and also enhancing your knowledge. But at the same time, it is also required to mark the attendance. Okay, these formalities also need to be done. So I request all of you to motivate your fellow friends to attend the sessions every day. Okay, because 85% attendance is minimally required to be get eligible for the certificate and also appear in the exam. So I hope you all will cooperate and learn and grow together. So this all from my side, and we will meet tomorrow at the same time. And the session timing will remain same 6 to 8 p.m. There was only one session on 15th of January that was 1 hour earlier, 5 to 7. But the coming sessions will also on the same time 6 to 8 p.m. And if there will be any change, we will let you know. Till that time, enjoy with your families and cooperate and learn. Okay, thank you so much. Jai Hind.